Hello, my creative friends, and welcome to another episode of The Daily Prompt. This is Fast Friday, where we talk about a little bit about Fast Screenplay, a little bit about the process itself. The original idea was going to be that we were going to start digging into some of the questions asked within the Fast Screenplay system, because those are writers who are actually going through the complete process. Some of those questions are a little bit more nuanced. But what I've decided, because we're going to be wrapping up the daily part of the daily prompt. The prompt itself will continue. I'm going to keep making videos. I'm going to keep providing you with inspiration and tips and insight and all that kind of good stuff. In the sort of middle ground where we pull back a little bit, I focus on building the film studio a little bit more, building that first film project, and then dig into the daily show as it was originally envisioned. See yesterday for more information about that. So what I want to talk about today really is the writer's room, the nature of incentive, and the reality of you going all the way. If you haven't done the Fast Screenplay 10-day free start, then you probably have not seen my free PDF that comes on day one called How to Guarantee Completion of a Production-Ready Screenplay. In other words, how to guarantee you're going to go all the way. Basically, I have you go through a series of steps within the one PDF, just answering one question at a time, and coming to your why now, coming to the thing that's going to drive you and keep you going all the way through the process. The biggest challenge that I have faced along the way is that writers quit. The biggest challenge that I have faced along the way is that there has not been sufficient incentive to encourage writers to persist and to follow through when the going gets tough. The reality that we face, whether you join Fast Screenplay, whether you go do it on your own, whether you spend 5 years or 10 years or 20, 30, 50 years pursuing all this, at the end of the day, the reality is you need something to keep you going through, or you're going to quit before you ever actually develop material that a producer can say yes to. When I started talking about the writer's room, when I started offering this idea, this incentive, what I've realized through this series now and through the feedback that I've gotten, through the people who've done the free start, through the people I've traded emails with, there has suddenly become this shift in perception that what I'm offering is sort of like a paid path to production. That's not what I'm offering. The writer's room is free. What I'm creating, what I'm trying to create, what the writer's room is all about, is giving writers an incentive to learn the process, to learn all the complete process, not the little bits and pieces that you're interested in, or that you're drawn to, or that you're skipping over the parts that you think you already know. It's actually getting you all the way from wherever you are now to the completed, not just the completed screenplay, but the skill set that will enable you to work in a professional environment. One of the biggest challenges for screenwriters is that your spec screenplay is most likely not the one that's going to be made into a film. I know that's your passion project. I know that's the thing that's driving you through this process. But chances are, what happens most often anyway, at least at first, is that project gets you in the door, at which point you become a writer on a different project. So if you don't have the skills to be able to work in that environment, you're going to miss that opportunity. Now, one of the reasons that happens is because people are interested in making what they want to make. Now, you might think, I'm an artist and I'm only focused on this one project, and that's all well and good. But sometimes you have to work for someone else. Sometimes you have to develop the network and build the skills and all that in order to get to make your passion project and your film. It's the nature of the beast. We have to develop our skills. We have to get good at, we have to reach a professional level of mastery in order to work within a specific environment to be able to then do those things that we are most passionate about. The biggest foible of new writers is this idea that you could somehow, in a month or 3 or 6 or a year, that you could somehow just magically write something that gets turned into this extraordinary project. A, you probably don't have the skill yet if you're a completely new writer. But B, you don't have the connections, you don't have the infrastructure. The challenge that I face at the moment is by introducing the writer's room And by making the writer's room about producing films written by writers so that they can see the reality of writing for production versus writing for the page, by adding that component, people skip over what FAST is all about. At the end of the day, FAST is what it's all about. At the end of the day, what I have created in FAST Screenplay is a step-by-step guide through the complete process, from before you even have your idea, through the development of your story, through the writing of your screenplay, through the enormously complex and meticulous rewriting process, through the polishing of your project to ensure that it is a page turner that people get excited about, to then getting notes and feedback and interpreting and deciphering what the hell do 10 different notes that say completely conflicting things mean, and how do I adapt and align my project so that it's going to land with the reader the way I want it to land with the reader, so that people get out of it what I put into it, not to appease them, but to ensure that it lands the way you want it to land, because then and only then are you able to find and connect with your project's ideal producer, which is the final phase of the process. Now, whether we ever produced films at the end or not, that process is designed to get you to your goal. That process is designed to make your success literally, and this is the perfect word for it, inevitable. The system is designed to make your results inevitable. Now, people sign up for the 10-day free start and they think this is very basic. This is very beginner. I already know this stuff. It's moving too slow. I want more than one step a day. I want to don't treat me like a child. All these complaints, not understanding or appreciating that this is how we go through the process, one day at a time, letting each skill fully absorb, fully materialize, fully physicalize inside you, so that when you move on to the next steps, it's not just, you are not just amassing information as you go along, you're developing skill. The later steps assume you have not just the information from the earlier steps, but the skills, the specific skills and the specific ways that we've built them. At the end of the day, Fast Screenplay is so inevitable that for about a 2-year stretch, I guaranteed results. I offered a money-back guarantee if you complete the system and you don't get whatever goal you set out for yourself. You want to write a big Hollywood studio film, sell it to the big studios. If you don't do that, I would give you your money back. But you had to complete the system. You had to really do it. You had to really learn it. You can't just go 3 days into it or a month into it or 3 months into it and go, this isn't going to work out for me. I want my money back. No, you would have to complete the system. You would have to really do it, because only when you do the whole thing and you learn the entire process, then you're going to have the knowledge and the skills and the ability to actually get where you're trying to go. Because FAST isn't it's not a screenwriting course, so it's not about learning the information. It's about literally physically going through the entire process from the very start to the very end. When you get to the end, suddenly the pieces all snap together so that on the next project, you can loop through it more and more quickly, so that the skills go deeper, the knowledge goes deeper. The whole process, the creative process, the professional screenwriting process becomes intuitive for you. That's the point. It's not fast your first time through. No, it takes a year to go all the way through and trust me, I would love for it to be faster than that. Than you do. At the end of the day, people go, it's going to take a year? Oh, I don't want to spend a year on it. You're going to spend 10 years on it. A year is fantastic. But at the end of the day, I would love for it to be able to be done in 3 weeks or a month or 6 months. Because if it was, we'd be able to make projects much faster. It's not in my best interest for it to take a year. I'd love for it to take a month. I'd love to be able to open the whole thing up on day one and give you every little piece of the whole puzzle, and you can jump wherever you want to, but that's not how it works. That's not how you build skills. That's not how you are guided through the complete process. Here's the problem. Writers quit. Every writer who does not succeed quits. They don't not succeed because they fail. Every failure is a learning experience. Every time you fail, every time you get rejected, every time somebody says no to your project, that's not a failure. That's not the end of the road. That's a learning process. What have we learned from this experience? How can we take that, plug it into our system, which, by the way, is what this does. How can we plug it into that so that we can improve as we go through that process? That's what FAST is all about. At the end of the day, I don't want you to join FAST Screenplay because of the writer's room, because of the production module at the end. That's just an incentive. That's an incentive to keep going when the going gets tough. Because if people are going to quit, I want to give them something there along the way that they go, if I just persist, I'm going to be part of a writer's room, and we're basically guaranteeing that we're going to make projects. Now, if you're in one of these writer's rooms, we're going to make these projects. If we make these projects, you're going to get ownership of the project. You're going to get a percentage. You're going to get a credit. This incentive is to help you learn the whole process, to help you literally go all the way through it, through a process that has been designed to be inevitable. So why don't we still offer that guarantee? It's simply because I had people advise me that it exposes me too much. I still would love to offer that guarantee to you. To be perfectly honest, I stand behind it. And at the end of the day, unofficially, I still stand by it. The reality is, if you go through the whole process, you cannot help but achieve the end result. It's not possible to get to the end without achieving that result. Because if you don't succeed, well, the steps over here say, go now do this. Say, loop back in this way. Add this to your process. If you knock on the door and the door won't open, go over here. Here's what you do. Here's how you get it to open. It's the process. It's the complete process. So, by adding the writer's room, by adding the production module at the end, I'm trying to bridge a gap. I don't want to teach screenwriting for the rest of my life. Before I went down this path, I had a book that I wanted to write called Phenomenal. Because ultimately, I have a bigger picture here. I have a bigger message to express. And I knew that if I started going down that path, I was going to leave the screenwriting world behind forever. And I wasn't done with it yet. I had to build fast. I had this compulsion to build this system to help writers go through this process without me looking over their shoulder the whole time. And I got stuck in this process along the way because writers quit. So I've added incentive. I've changed it around. I've tried this. I've tried that. I've tried every different possible approach to this thing. What's there now works best. But writers quit. So what can we do? How can I bridge that gap? We'll create the writer's room. We'll create the production module. It's not about you joining so that you can get your project made. It's you joining so that you can develop the skills and go through the complete process. What producers need you to have, what the industry needs you to have, what anyone needs you to have, what I would need you to have, which is why you have to go through it to get into the writer's room, to go into this process. What I'm going to be doing in the months ahead is leaving it there, is saying it is what it is. Join, don't join, it's up to you. I've got to turn my attention onto making the films and working with the writers who've completed the process and building the independent film studio. Once we build that, the tiny little windows close. Once we do that, the invisible opportunity washes away. It's no longer there. I would love to have you, if you're not already, by the way, I know that a lot of people watching this are already a part of it. Thank you guys. I hope this fires you up to continue through this process, because that's what everything that I do is about, getting you to the finish line. Not just talking about this stuff, not just filling your head with ideas, but getting you to the finish line. That's my objective. So what I've decided to do, I was originally having this promotion, this thing where the first 100 people to join would get automatic entry into the writer's room. That is now, I've switched. It's officially the last 100. Because what I've decided is the last 100 people to join as of this message will get automatic entry into the writer's room. That's 100 people. If all 100 go all the way, that's 10 people in each group. That's 10 writer's room groups. That's one film from each group minimum. That's 10 films. That's my commitment. That has been my commitment. That will remain my commitment. It takes 1 year to go through the process. You have 3 years to complete it. So we give you plenty of time for you to take your time through this process, to dig deeper, ask questions. It's interactive, the whole thing. What I've decided officially is that that's where I'm going to call it a day. At the end of the last 100, that's going to be it for me in the screenwriting realm. I will at that point be focused on making 10 films. I will at that point be... Well, there are parts of the independent film studio business model and plan that I have not expressed here that I want to reveal further along. But I'm going to be 100% in that direction. So if you like me, if you like the things that I've been saying here, if you think that I have value, if you think that I have given you anything at any point along the way, and you want to be a part of it and you want to join me, this is the last chance. So based upon our progress from the beginning of the Daily Prompt until now, these past 75 whatever episodes, we've had about 5-6 people, something like that, join us in these last 100. Now, most of them are subscribers. I don't know if they'll go all the way. So there are still seats there. If it continues at that pace, you may have a year to decide on if you want to become part of the final 100. But once we start making films, there's going to be a lot more interest in it, I think, because people will see that this is real. I've learned at this point, I've come to realize that until people see it, they can't imagine it. Until people see it, it's not real enough to take action. And I get it. You got to be on the front of the bell curve. You know, the early adopters are the few. I get that the majority are at the top of that bell curve, right? The big section of the bell curve. Fair enough. But this is basically the end of the road for me to be directly involved. If you don't care, fair enough. Whatever. Woo! Oh, Jeff, we're going to miss out on your individual participation. Oh, I can hear the collective groan from the crowd. Yeah, whatever. But that's the reality. It's time to move in the next direction. It's time to move to take this up a notch and focus my energies where they need to be. So I would love very much to have you join me in a system that makes results inevitable. I would love to have you in a system that gives you an incentive to continue taking action every single day, a daily prompt, but not just a random daily prompt, a targeted daily prompt pushing you ever closer every single day toward your ultimate goal. I would love to have you be a part of it, and that's all I'm going to say about it for today. If you don't want to be a part of it, or you're tired of hearing me talk about it, fair enough. I'm not going to be talking about it too much further, at least not in this series. And at the end of the day, if you want to wait until it's built, go ahead, wait until it's built. That's all good too. I thank you very much for watching this series. This series will continue, but in a slightly different form. If you didn't watch yesterday's video, it's going to adapt a little bit. But it will continue. We're going to keep going. I will show you the making of the independent film studio so that you can take all my knowledge and go do it yourself if you want to. You're probably going to realize why you don't want to, why it'd be in your best interest to join somebody like me. But whatever it is, this is the day for the unabashed Fast Screenplay pitch. Fast Fridays, I decided a couple weeks ago to just devote a day where I talk about Fast Screenplay unapologetically. And that's what I'm doing today. I maintain Fast Screenplay is the most helpful resource that you will find in the screenwriting world. It is non-competitive, so everything else that's out there drops very neatly into Fast Screenplay. We're not competing with anybody. Your favorite screenwriting course, your favorite guru, your favorite book, it all fits right into FAST Screenplay. We welcome, in fact, I reach out to anyone of those gurus and say, reach out to me. Let's team up. Let's collaborate somehow. Let's offer mutual value to the screenwriting community. At the end of the day, I'm not here for that. I'm here to help you get to your goal. I'm here to get to production. I'm here to help lift the quality of screenwriting broadly and specifically within the independent community so that we can build the grand vision that I have in mind, which I've talked about before and which I'll elaborate on as we go along. So if that sounds in any way interesting to you, join me on FAST Screenplay. If not, fair enough. But that's what today is all about. Now, turning it into a specific prompt for you. What is your incentive? What is it that is going to push you to the finish line? At the end of the day, if you don't have a significant enough incentive and you don't have a meticulously defined path to getting there, it's a crapshoot. It's a goal. It's a dream. It's an aspiration. You're taking steps in a direction and you're hoping that direction is going to get you there. What I've mapped out is a path that basically guarantees that you get there. It makes the results inevitable by, if you don't quite hit the mark, showing you what to do at that point, how to loop through the process at that point until you get there. If you don't join me, what is your path for doing that? What is your process for doing that? How are you going to refine and define your path to ensure that you get where you're trying to go? To ensure that you're not just randomly moving in a general direction toward a spec script, toward trying to get an agent, toward trying to connect with producers in Hollywood who aren't going to open their doors. If you don't have a specific path and strategy, now's the time to develop one, okay? So if you're not going to join me in mine, you have to develop it yourself because it's the only possible way to get there. If you meander, it's going to take you 10 years to get where I'm suggesting we can get in 1 to 2. Does that make sense? So that's today's daily prompt. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you will join me tomorrow for Status Update Saturday. And I do definitely very sincerely hope that whatever you choose, whatever path you decide to ultimately take, A, I wish you extraordinary success on that path. And B, I really do hope that you'll take action toward it because whatever story you've got inside you, it is unique to you. Whatever story you've got inside you is important to tell. So tell it. Take action. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.